This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's number one show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin' is your boy. Good afternoon, not good morning. Good afternoon to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Game Day Pregame Show. The New York Knicks versus the Toronto Raptors today at 3:30 p.m. And we're going to go ahead and talk about this, break it down. I got Steph and I got Andy in the building. And ladies and gentlemen, you know, this is going to be a tough game for the young Knicks. And now we can really say the decimated and youthful New York Knicks. That's who's out there today. You know, so we're expecting, I don't know what I'm expecting, but I guess we'll see. Toronto's been a tough matchup for us all season long because of their intense defense and aggressive defense, you know. So this is going to be a difficult one for the kids, but I think they'll be up for it. I don't know if this is going to be successful, but I think they'll be up for it. You know what I mean? Steph,
yeah.
I haven't seen you in a couple of days. What's your take so far with everything that's happening and going on with the Knicks and the youth and Randall and Mitch and everything?
Right. Shout out to you, Sam, Andy, the chat. I mean, I think some is to be expected, right? I mean, for me, how I understand an NBA team, you want to have your veterans that you can count on game in and game out. And then you want to have your young players in the rotation that you're bringing out and that you're bringing up and that they're contributing significantly. And we're in a situation now where our vets weren't really playing that well. And now we're in a situation where the vets are out, and now we have to count on the young players to win us a game. And I just don't think it's a good place. I mean, I'm sure they're excited for the opportunity, but for me, I'm just keeping my expectations tempered because they're young and first, second year players, they're going to be up and down. RJ, though, this is his third year, so I'm really looking forward to see if he's able to kind of step into the space that's been created and what he's able to do. And it's unfortunate. Mitch was rounding into it seems like whenever Mitch start getting those double-doubles, start rounding into shape, here's an injury.
Right.
You know, so not an injury, you know, he's in health and safety protocol. So I'm looking forward to watching them play, but I'm not going to be like so up or down, you know, based on how they play.
Right. Yeah. And you know, I was kind of emotional after the OKC game. I mean, I didn't go crazy, but I was just kind of emotional because I wanted to win that game, knowing that we had some really tough games ahead of us. I really wanted to get that game, get to 500, and then see what happens.
Right.
But you know, at entering this game, I just got tempered expectations. So you know, if we get smacked around, it's kind of expected. If we don't get smacked around and we somehow win the basketball game, then it's like, wow, okay, you know, this is great.
Right.
You know, so I think everyone kind of has tempered expectations, and we're looking at the game from a different lens, a different angle, more trying to see what can the kids do, you know, how have they grown and how will they grow in this particular lineup at this particular time, because you know they've got to step in and play some basketball. So I think people are looking at it from that perspective now. You know, at least I know I am. Andy, what about you?
Yeah, what up, Sim? What up, Steph? Happy to be seeing you guys. Salute to the chat. Yes, and exactly like you said. Listen, our expectations maybe should be tempered, lowered. Listen, on paper, this is Toronto's game to lose, basically. It's a home game for them. We are, you know, decimated by the health and safety protocol. We basically don't have a starting point guard except for a rookie guard, which, you know, speaking with Thibs, is probably not even named a starting point guard. He's there by, by not by design, just by probably luck, as far as Thibs sees it. And yes, it's like you said. If we lose this game, I don't think fans should be mad, disappointed, unless it's we got a huge lead somehow and we play really bad and lose it on our side. But I still would be maybe not happy because we lost, but at least if we're going to compete, I'm going to be proud of these guys.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
And that's exactly what I want, is for us to come out and compete and show the fans like, hey, we can play some ball too, and we're going to go out here and play hard and compete every night. And if they can find a way to stay afloat until Randall and Mitch get back, Kemba, we'll see what happens with Kemba, and maybe we learn something over these next few games, something that Thibs can really bite his teeth into and say, you know what? We have some lineups that can really go out there and give me a good, 5 to 8 minutes. Some lineups that we didn't expect. I could take Obi and put him in the unit with Kemba and RJ and Mitch and Fournier and let Randall, rest up. You know what I'm saying? And be ready for the fourth quarter, for the last 4 minutes of the fourth quarter or whatever it is. So maybe this builds a little bit more trust from Thibs for guys like Obi, McBride, Grimes, etc., to play in some of these crucial moments. Not that he hasn't played Grimes in some crucial moments, because he has, but, maybe this builds that trust. Looking at the injury report, and this is from yesterday, I don't think it's changed much. For the Knicks, Mitchell Robinson, he's in health and safety protocol. Kemba Walker, he has a sore left knee. He's out for, it says tomorrow's game, but they're meeting today. Today's game versus Toronto. Nerlens Noel, Julius Randle, Wayne Selden, Jericho Sims, they're all in health and safety protocols along with Mitchell Robinson. Daniel House Jr. continues to be out. Derrick Rose, he's out due to ankle surgery. And Evan Fournier is questionable with a right sore ankle. I have him on the starting lineups, but there's a chance that he doesn't play. Looking at that, the Knicks are playing the Raptors today. Tom Thibodeau, Evan Fournier might say, hey, you know what? It's going to be a tough one no matter if I play or not. I might as well rest my ankle. I don't know. What do you think, Andy? Do you think he plays today?
Yes, as far as I would see it, I'd sit out. If I'm Thibs, I would sit him out. Not like like Evan has a choice even here. The blame is going to be on the coach, so I would sit him out and literally tell the guys in the locker room, listen, we got nothing to lose. Just try to go out and ball out. If the shots are going to be falling, we have a chance. So and this is the NBA. Listen, there were stranger situations and results of games happening, than the Knicks beating the Raptors. So, in the NBA, everyone can be beat on every single night. So, it's not like I'm going to be shocked, but I think percentage-wise, it's like below 10% that we have a chance to win this game.
Yeah.
Do we even have 8 without Fournier?
They didn't say that, we're going to postpone the game, so we have to have 8.
Okay.
I mean, there's some G League guys, I guess, that the Knicks have, brought up. So I'm assuming that we probably do have 8 if we don't have Fournier.
Okay.
Right? I mean, if we don't have Fournier, that we have Miles McBride, Grimes, RJ, Obi, and Taj. Right. And then you have Damian Dotson on the bench.
Right.
Quickly
on the bench. Taj Gibson on the bench. Knox on the bench. So, yes.
Yeah, that's 8. Yeah.
Yeah. For the Toronto Raptors, it looks like they'll be pretty much healthy. Scotty Barnes most likely will not play. And who else did you say, Andy?
Isaac Bonga is the only guy on the Raptors in the safe and health and safety protocol. So.
Right. Isaac Bonga and Scotty Barnes. likely will not play for the Toronto Raptors. So for the most part, they're going to be healthy. They're going to be healthy, and they got some vets out there that know how to get it done. It's going to be a tough go for the New York Knicks. Looking at the potential starting lineups for the Knicks, you got Miles McBride, either Evan Fournier or Quentin Grimes, depending on who start, if Evan Fournier goes or not. RJ Barrett, Obi Toppin, Taj Gibson. And then for the Raptors, you got Fred VanVleet, Gary Trent Jr., OG Anunoby, Pascal Siakam, and Kem Birch.
Yeah.
I mean, when you look at it, we're almost overmatched in every single position right now. So this is going to be one. This is going to be one where you hope that the Knicks can do to the Raptors what other teams have done to us.
Right.
Where when they got a bunch of guys out and the opposing team has no clue who these guys are, they step up, they play tough basketball and are able to either challenge you or eke out a win. You know what I'm saying? Now, Toronto, they're very familiar with the New York Knicks, though. It's not like, okay, we play OKC twice a year. They're not really on our radar. You know what I mean? So when they have a bunch of guys out and they're bringing guys in that we're like, who is this? It's really like, who is this? But for the Raptors, they're familiar with the New York Knicks. They know about Taj Gibson, Obi Toppin, RJ Barrett, Evan Fournier. Maybe they don't know about Miles McBride.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But they probably do because we're in the same division. We've played these guys twice already this season. They're familiar with what everybody in this lineup wants to do.
And it's almost half season, Sim. So
yeah,
it's not like it's like first 5 games. So
exactly, you know what I'm saying. So this makes it even more difficult for us versus the Raptors. But it's not impossible. You never know. Somebody could get hot. Evan Fournier, if he's playing, could get hot. Maybe Grimes gets hot. RJ, he's had some good games against Toronto this season. So maybe this is going to be, a game for him to really step up. Obi's had a good game against Toronto this season.
Right.
Right. But let's start from the top. Miles McBride, Fred VanVleet. Steph, what do you think about the matchup?
I mean, I think it'll be a good one for Miles McBride defensively. I think that he can guard Fred VanVleet. VanVleet does have range, though. But McBride picks up 90 feet anyway. I still expect VanVleet to win the matchup. I just think he's more savvy. He's been playing this position, for a longer period of time. But I don't expect McBride to be a slouch and just overwhelmed.
Right. Yeah, I agree there. I don't know what McBride brings on the offensive side, but I think he'll do a good job defending Fred VanVleet.
Yeah. He pounds the ball a lot, Sam. Have you noticed that?
He does. He gets into his times where he'll pound the basketball, and try to get his move off. I mean, I guess he's a rookie. I don't know if that's how Tom Thibodeau wants him to play or not, but I'm sure, he, and this is the difference between him and Emmanuel Quickly. He seems to be the kind of guy that when you really start to teach him, this is how we want to play, he'll pick up on it quick and he can adapt his game. Like Quickly is kind of, this is the way I play, this is what I'm doing. And I think Tom Thibodeau has recognized that and he's just going to let it be. Miles McBride, I think he's the kind of kid that can adapt his game a little bit more.
He can sacrifice his offense for the team.
Exactly. He can sacrifice his offense, and I don't think he cares one bit about sacrificing his offense.
Right.
Hopefully he's going to be more than this guy, but he's kind of like a Charlie Ward a little bit.
Yeah.
Charlie Ward was solid, though.
Yeah, Charlie Ward was solid. He was real solid.
Sometimes that's what you need.
Yeah, and he led a lot of good New York Knicks teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Andy, what do you think about this matchup?
Yes, it's like Steph said. This isn't the worst matchup, versus the Raptors 1-1, because Van Fleet isn't the quickest guard in the NBA. He isn't the biggest guard in the NBA. So Deuce's physical abilities are not going to be in a huge disparity compared to Van Fleet, right?
Right.
They're both, let's call it small point guards, but strong. So it's going to be a good matchup, I think, on both ends, because Van Fleet is also not a bad defender. And, McBride's not going to have any, offensive, prowess versus him.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a really interesting matchup.
Yeah. And you know what? If I'm Miles McBride, and I think Miles McBride probably is, he's looking at this like, hey, you know what? I got a chance to prove to Coach Thibodeau and everybody else that I could be a starting point guard in this league. You know what I mean? Yeah. He's probably a little bit more comfortable starting than he was against OKC. He was just kind of thrust in there, right? Because Kemba Walker was a late game scratch. He was probably expecting, I'll be able to watch the game. I'll get in for 10 to 15 minutes. Right. All of a sudden, coach comes to you and like, hey, you're starting tonight. You know what I mean? And for a guy it's his first time starting, as soon as you hear those words, your heart jumps right into your throat. Like, oh, snap, I'm starting tonight. You know what I'm saying? So he'll probably be a little more relaxed tonight, I think. He didn't look like he was nervous, but you can't tell from, you can't tell from the way he's playing if he's nervous or not. Sometimes you can. He seems to be the kind of guy where you probably can't tell what he's thinking, from the way that he looks on the floor. But I think he was probably a little bit nervous, maybe a little amped up. Who knows? But I think he'll be more relaxed tonight, better suited to play this game, have a better headspace for it, because now he knows coming in that he's starting.
Right.
So I think that's going to benefit him. What about Fournier or Grimes versus Gary Trent Jr.? Andy, I'll start out with you. Come back around the step.
I'm not going to lie. I'd rather see Grimes versus Gary Trent Jr. today. Yeah, listen, and it's not only because I think, you got to be fully healthy to compete in the NBA. NBA is the best league in the world. And if you're going to have an injured leg or playing one-legged, on the court, it's better for the team and for you to sit out, because you're going to get exposed really fast. Right. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a start. It's going to be like last game. He played like 2-3 minutes of good basketball. Then they tried to insert him later in the game. It didn't pan out, so he was like 20 minutes max, right? And I don't think that's a good idea as far as coaching-wise. So I'd rather see Grimes out there. And listen, I don't think we mentioned it, and even anyone said, like, we are blaming Fournier for so many things, and people are asking for Bullock, instead of Fournier, that they would do the trade 1-for-1 if they had the ability. Listen, Grimes compared to Bullock, it's a really similar player. They play defense, they make threes. I rather see even Grimes than Bullock. I'm not gonna lie at this point. So we don't have to trade Fournier away. Just play Grimes over him if you want to be, that way. And listen, Sim, I think, like we said at the beginning, the Knicks young guys have nothing to lose. So I would ball out with all of them out on the court. And it's not like I'm giving up the game at the beginning of the game, right before the first whistle. I think, they have to play loose. No, expectations, and that's the way that they'll have a bigger chance to get a W tonight.
Yeah, and and Rick V just pointed this out in the chat, and I'd like to go ahead and follow up with it, because I'm looking at the official NBA report, and Scotty Barnes is probable. He's been upgraded to probable to play today. So, he'll likely be out there on the floor. Right. Which, he's, I don't know if he's going to start, but, he's another matchup problem that the Knicks got to deal with. Someone like Kevin Knox might be dealing with him off the bench.
Right. And if he does start, they usually move Siakam to center.
So that could be, right? That could
Scotty,
be.
just sit out. Scotty, sit out.
That could be, right? That could be where they move Siakam to center. Then they'd be playing really small.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're long on the wings and
Right.
the center. So it's. And if
guess-
if it's Taj going to be in the center, so they can run circles around him. He can box one out, but the other two guys are going to crash the board. So
yeah. Now R.J. Barrett and OG Anunoby, that is my Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night. In 2 games versus the Toronto Raptors, R.J. Barrett is averaging 23 points, 6 rebounds, just 0.5 assists, but he's shooting 48.3% from the field. He's shooting 46.7% from the three-point line and 78.6% from the free throw line. OG Anunoby in 1 game versus the Knicks this season, he had 36 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. He shot 48.1% from the field. He shot 33.3% from the three-point line and 85.7% from the free throw line. This right here is the matchup that I'm watching tonight between these two guys. I want R.J. Barrett to step up and be the leader, right? And really step into that role like you were saying, Steph. And we talked about it yesterday. This is R.J.'s time, and I want to see him do it. In his post-game interview, when asked if he feels the responsibility to, take over, step up and take over, he said, no, he's going to, he's going to take what the game gives him. I want to hear him say that he wants to step up, that he's going to step up and he's going to be the leader, and it may not happen, or he may struggle some nights, but I want to know that that's what's on his mind. Now, does it mean that it's not what's on his mind? He could have just trying to be, trying to be diplomatic about it. But I want to hear him say, "Yeah, I'm ready to take this thing over." What do you think about this matchup?
Sam, when he said that, if you had that sound that you played for Isaiah, I would have played that wrong. That's the wrong answer. I'm with you. I hope he was just being diplomatic. Listen, to win in this league, you got to have a go-to player. You could pass the ball around and take the shots when it's given to you, but there comes a time in the game where you need somebody to get you a basket. Yeah. And you got to have somebody on the team. All of the good teams have that. So RJ, I think that answer, if it wasn't a diplomatic answer, and if that's what he really meant, it just goes back to what many of us have been talking about for as long as RJ has been here. And that is, he's the type of player that just takes what's given to him. If it comes his way, fine. If it doesn't, fine. He's not somebody that's going to step in there and be aggressive. And that's what we're going to need. That's what we're going to need from him tonight. Now, listen, it's not all on him, right? Everybody has to step up.
Right.
But, yeah, I'm expecting a little more for him. And as far as this matchup is concerned, before that statement, I thought it was like a close. I thought it could be kind of close. But part of, having a game like that is the mentality, So we'll see. I'm not sure how many games Anunoby has been back, because remember, he was out with a hip pointer for some time. So I'm not sure how many games he's been back. If he's back to full strength, Barrett is going to have to produce offensively and defensively, right?
Yeah.
Both, we're going to need him on both ends of the floor. So I would give Anunoby the edge. But I think RJ Barrett could win this matchup depending on how he plays.
Yeah. And OG Anunoby is a good defender as well.
Right.
So he can definitely make it difficult for RJ Barrett. Andy, your thoughts on this matchup?
Yes, I'm with you. This is going to be the matchup to watch. And I really think that RJ can play a better game than OG. tonight because he will be the man on the Knicks. And OG is going to have the supporting cast on his side. So he might not want to duel it out like one-on-one. But I think, RJ has to step up. And I'm not saying like he's going to take 50 shots and the rest of the team is going to take 20, right? But I'm expecting him to try to show his teammates, the coach, the fans, that listen, I'm stepping up. It's no dissing me, no negative towards me. I'm trying to do it. If it doesn't pan out, listen, I'm gonna be maybe not cool with it, but at least I'm gonna see that he picked up the gloves, he tried to fight, right? Not ran from it. So because after the comment, it's like I'm shaky on this. So he better show me something.
Yeah, exactly. Nate, what's going on, man? I know you were at the game yesterday or the other day and whatnot. Probably a disappointing loss. Probably a disappointing loss for you, but
more like embarrassing. I mean, when you look at the starting roster they put out, I mean, I thought the game, if we would have lost, it would have been close, but it was not even the game the whole way, pretty much.
I mean, look at the starting roster we put out.
But we have better players than they did. I mean, outside of Shea Gilgeous, I mean, that's all I'm saying. I mean, I don't know about this Knicks team.
You assume we have better players. I don't know.
I couldn't name half the players on the Thunder's team.
Yeah, they probably couldn't name ours.
And Shea Gilgeous.
I mean, they probably couldn't name ours too. They're probably like, who's Miles McBride? Who's Quentin Grimes?
They knew who Evan Fournier was.
Yeah, they know who Fournier is. They know who Obi is. Yeah. But But what about tonight, man? RJ Barrett, OG Anunoby. What's your thoughts on that matchup? That's the Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night.
It's going to be a tough matchup for RJ. I mean, they're about the same body type. OG is a dog on defense. Mm-hmm. He can score inside. He can score a little bit outside. The thing with RJ, I want to see, watching him live, it's different from watching him on TV. He is an aggressor. He does like to get to the cup a lot, but he really doesn't look for a shot, which worries me about him. Like, he doesn't try to do the mid-range. He doesn't really try, outside of the three-pointer or just get into the cup. That's really his game. And he's got to develop some kind of mid-range shot. I really think that's the next part of his game. Yeah. He needs to get that, because when he gets to the cup, he either takes weird angles or he just takes it really strong, and it's either going to be in the basket or it's going to be a wide miss from the side. I don't know. He finishes really weird, but he's aggressive. So I'll give him that. He definitely played aggressive in that Oklahoma City. He played like the number one guy that night. He's going to have to do that tonight or today. And the thing I worry about him is that the mentality, he doesn't see himself as needing to step up. He just says, I'll take the game as it comes. Well, we want to hear more. I get maybe he's being diplomatic, but even if he's being diplomatic, you got to be a dog sometimes, and you got to want to go get it. And I feel like sometimes he doesn't do that.
Well, I tell you what, the face that I saw against OKC, that the camera focused in on, in that particular moment and in that particular game, he felt like, I got to go get it. So I'm hoping that, he was just being diplomatic, and he really feels like, what, I've got to do this. I know it's on my shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Now, we will see. It's going to be a good matchup. The Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night, ladies and gentlemen. You can go to thrivefantasy.com. You can download the Thrive Fantasy app and play different types of daily sports games. I think you'll enjoy it. You got player props. All right. You got a contest lobby where you can pick 10 players and use them as your team for that night. Take your chances on winning a couple of dollars, ladies and gentlemen. So go to thrivefantasy.com or go to the app, download the app, put it on your phone. And if you use the code NBK, you'll receive a 100% match of your first deposit up to $100. Again, a 100% match of your first deposit up to $100. Just use the code NBK or click on the link in the description of this video, and you don't have to use the code because the code is already attached to that link. All right? It's thrivefantasy.com, ladies and gentlemen. And RJ Barrett, OG Anunoby. That's the matchup of the night, the Thrive Fantasy matchup of the night. Looking at other matchups for tonight, Obi Toppin and Pascal Siakam. You know, I'm going to be honest with you. Pascal Siakam is good. I feel like Obi can play well against Pascal Siakam. You know, like Pascal Siakam is not your big bruising guy. I don't know. You know, he's probably strong. How much stronger than Obi Toppin? I don't know. I feel like this play style, Obi can match up well against Pascal Siakam. Maybe Obi can have a good game tonight against Pascal. I think, Andy, you told me the last time Obi Toppin played against the Raptors, he had 19 points.
Yeah, I think that was his career game, right?
Career high?
Yeah, I think that's his career high. So
yeah,
we lost that game, but
Obi Toppin is averaging 12.5 points against the Raptors. 12.5 points and 6.5 rebounds against the Raptors in 2 games this season. And he's played an average of 18.3 minutes versus the Raptors this season.
Hey, Sim.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know, I was really excited to see Obi play in person because I hadn't seen him play. I was really surprised that when he had the ball in his hands, he almost looked like, just looking at his face and kind of the way he was like making his moves, he almost seemed indecisive at times, you know, in the post. And I think that's definitely another part of his game that he really needs to work on, where he's going to make the move to take to the basket and go for it. But he seemed very passive at times in the post when he got the ball, and, you know, almost seemed like he wasn't expecting it. You know, it's like he's something he hasn't been used to seeing in a while.
Yeah,
it's probably the case because
right.
Yeah, but I don't know. I mean, that's another guy that I really want to see, you know, get more aggressive. You know, I want to see him really try to take that to the rim.
Well, I mean, I think we gotta, I know, but I think we got to give him a chance. Just getting into this starting lineup, and I mean, it's only going to be for a couple of games, but I think we got to give him a chance to get used to being in this starting lineup and figure out what is my role in this lineup and how do I play off of these guys that's in the lineup. Because you talk about Miles McBride, Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett. Against OKC, it was Mitchell Robinson. Tonight, Taj Gibson, and then Obi. This is a new lineup. Now you got to figure out, where do I fit in this lineup? Right. You know what I'm saying? All the players got to kind of figure out, where do I fit in this lineup? So, we do got to give him a chance to get comfortable. And as he gets comfortable, I think you'll see him be more aggressive.
I hope so. I like him. I really want to see more aggression from him. I think he can really be a factor for us, especially when we get Randall back and all that. But I think this is his prime opportunity to show what he's got, because Randall's not playing. You know, we need him.
Yeah, Steph, your thoughts on this matchup, Obi and Pascal?
The only reason why I think it's going to be a tough matchup, Sim, is my preference would be to start Knox and have Obi in the second unit with IQ, because they play very well together. That second unit runs more. Obi gets a chance to run, stretch the floor. And this starting lineup with Taj and RJ Barrett, let's see if they run more, if it's going to be more of a half-court game. If it's a half-court game, I don't think that plays to Obi's strength.
Correct.
Though I have seen him play in the post some this season. I have seen him in the half-court put the ball on the floor and go to the rim. But I don't know if it's a big part of his game just yet. I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Steph. Cole, I'll get to you in just a second. Go ahead, Steph.
Right. And also him starting, he's going up against, starting lineup, players. So, he can give Siakam, problems, especially if he's running. I think that's where he's going to give him the most problems, if he's running and leaking out, and Siakam now has to pay attention to him. If we have court, I'll probably give Siakam the edge.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. If we have court, it's a little tougher for Obi, because he just doesn't have half court skills right now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Andy?
Yeah, I agree totally with Steph. I only add that in a half court game, it's going to be harder for Obi to post up because they play really smart defense. They're going to use the zone definitely, which I think is going to cause huge problems for Knicks and especially for Obi. And I think the help defense from those guys, both Anunoby and even Kim Birch, and if Scotty Barnes is going to be there, they're all long guys that know how to play help defense, and their strength is team defense. So listen, and Siakam one-on-one defensively is also not a slouch. So it might be a hard game for Obi in the half court, but in the open floor, Obi's one of the best in the NBA. He can run the floor. He can go up high for the ball. So, in the half court, I rather see him get those alley-oops. And if Mitch is not here, I think, he might be the guy that's going to be, behind enemy lines trying to, fly up high and get that ball and dunk it. Yeah. Nate said that, he couldn't play in the post. And I think with his current skill in the post, that's forcing your player to not play in his strengths. So I rather don't see it till he can really do it. One possession, two possessions a game, cool, right. But it's not like we're gonna feed him like we feed Randall in the post.
Yeah, no, you're not, because he's not going to be that anchor on the offensive side. If Pascal Siakam though is matched up against him, I just feel like Obi, just given their maybe similar type of builds, I feel like Obi can use his athleticism against Pascal Siakam. Hopefully the Knicks will use Obi in it, not to post up, but in a slashing manner, right? Slash to the basket, get him the ball, let him take one dribble and get up in the air, because there's nobody on the floor that's going to get up in the air with Obi. And if you get him in that position, I think it's going to create something good every time, but
the pick and pop.
Yeah, pick and pop. He's shown that he can knock.
I think he could be a great pick and pop player, man. He just needs to get more consistent shooting.
Yeah, I think his strength is getting him going to the basket, slashing and cutting and getting to the basket, letting him get up in the air, because that's his biggest asset right now. And, when he gets up in the air, nobody can get up there with him. That's the reason why Emmanuel quickly finds him a lot. Like, quickly would throw the ball. Obi will have somebody on him. Somebody will be fronting Obi. And Obi's got his hand up and quickly throw it, because he knows Obi's going to go up in the air and get it. And I do think, Steph, you're right. I think we miss that chemistry between Quickly and Obi. Mm-hmm. We miss it because they know what each other wants to do.
Right.
Yeah. Let me get to phone call real quick. We'll get back to it. My man, Jay Boog on the line. What's popping, bro?
Salute, salute, salute. 3 capital S's. Happy holidays and happy new year. Happy 2022. Goodbye to 2021. Shout out the whole chat. Shout out everybody in the world repping that orange and blue. And I ain't talking about the Denver Broncos or Auburn Tigers or none of that. Shout out to the whole NBK. Shout out to Mr. Sim, a.k.a. Mr. Ron O'Neill, the Superfly, the whole podcast. Shout out to Miss Stephanie. I call her the Lauren Hill of the podcast. And shout out to Nate. Shout out to my man Andy. Andy ain't came up with a nickname for you, but I know you like to carve a high coach, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just leave that right there for that. But I'm challenging everybody today. I'm challenging Tom. You need to have a better coaching game than over there. You need to win all the battling of the coaching. You need to win the X's and O's. Let him win the timeouts. If he calling more timeouts, we doing something good. We doing something good. You need to win the momentum battles. All that. I'm challenging all the players. Y'all need to win all these awards today. The effort award, the energy award, the hustle plays. We need to win all those things right there today, and then that lets us know we in position to win a game. Just to remind you, we ain't lost a game this year. We can go 1-0 this year. I don't care what happened last year. We ain't lost a game this year. We can go 1-0 today. But I'm bigging up and I'm challenging RJ. See, when you say you're a leader of something, you're a leader. A leader is different from a veteran. A leader knows what he's doing. A veteran is just in the league 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years and happy to be there. But a leader going to pinpoint and show everybody what they need to be doing. I challenge you. This morning, you should have been on your phone calling everybody before the game, checking in, seeing how they doing. And then when you got to the locker room, you should have rechecked on everybody to see if they still feel the same way when you called them this morning, if not feeling better, you know what I'm saying? Then that leads on to the court, and that court leads on to the game, and then that game leads on to a victory. I'm challenging you for all the leadership skills that we do not have. Julius is not a leader, but RJ, you say that Julius been holding you back. I need to see more leadership, and I ain't talking about scoring, getting a bucket or nothing. I need you talking to everybody, make sure they're in the right position, being able to call a play without Tom calling the play and try to direct the play. I need you to show leadership skills, RJ. I'm praying on you, RJ. I need you, RJ, to step up and be that third pick you are in the league, you know what I'm saying, for this New York Knicks organization, for the New York Knicks fan base, for all the podcasts, for all the chat. RJ, please step your game up in 2022, man. I'm counting on you. And before I go, the best 4 verses I heard last year was Nas, the second verse in the truth, and every verse that me, Papa Left, and Cully spit on, we back to Christmas. God bless y'all. Y'all have a glorious day. First Sunday of the 2022. Peace, love, and happiness. 3 capital S's. Salute, salute, salute.
No doubt. J Boogie in the building.
Yeah.
You gotta love it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah. Listen, Coach Tom Thibodeau, for every game, should get J Boogie on the line and let the players listen to J Boogie give them, a pregame speech.
Definitely needs to be the inspiration before
every
the game
single
starts,
game.
sure.
As a matter of fact, I'm gonna clip that after this and send it to the New York Knicks. They're probably not gonna pay attention to it, right? They're probably not gonna pay attention to it, but yeah, that's what we need to do. He'll get them pumped up and ready to go.
Yeah, I'm pumped up.
He'll get them pumped up.
Hey, Sim.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I just want to highlight 2 things that when I watched the Knicks play in the Oklahoma City game that kind of surprised me. I don't know if it surprised me, but maybe it's something I just didn't really notice or pay attention to. So I think the Knicks' spatial awareness when they're on the breaks and when they go into their offense sometimes isn't always there, especially like whenever they're like whenever they get the ball, they're not really looking up when there's players leaking out. I've noticed that. There was a situation where I think Obi was ready for a dunk and they overthrew him on that play. And then there was another one, I think, where Evan made a steal and he got in the way of the guy going to the basket. He cut him off instead of just passing the ball and letting him get an easy layup. And so I think the Knicks need to get better at that, especially with their vision on the court, because it's maybe because of the inexperience of some of these guys, they're not used to playing a full-time point guard position. But I think it's something the Knicks really need to work on because they let a lot of points out sometimes when they do that. And then the 4-man, man, you got to guard the 4-man. Every time the 4-man popped out, there was nobody to come out to contest the shot. Muscala had so many open shots. And I put that on Mitch because Mitch just looked lackadaisical a lot of the game. Now, he might have been sick because he had COVID or he got COVID. But he looked tired. He looked lackadaisical on the defensive end, and it led to a lot of wide open threes. And that was the real reason why we lost the game, is because they made their threes and we didn't. So, anyways, that's just some of those observations.
That's a big reason. Obviously, we allowed them to have open threes. So, Mitch wasn't the only one. Trust me. He was far from the only one that allowed people to have open threes.
I know, but I'm just saying the 4-man was killing us in that game the whole time. I mean, Muscala, that other dude, Roby, I don't know. They had some other dudes, but every time I saw it, they would just kick out to the 3 and nobody was there to contest. And it was usually wide open.
Yeah. I mean,
and Mitch was somewhere in the middle of the paint.
Yeah. I mean, no matter the rotation of players that we put in the game, this seems to be the MO of the New York Knicks, which goes back to scheme. Doesn't always lead to the players; it leads to the scheme. When you take different players and put them in a lineup, and you have the same result on whatever it is, you have the same result happening over and over and over again. Then now that's the scheme. And we know the scheme is to protect the paint and test the other team's ability to shoot the 3. Sometimes it works okay for the Knicks. A lot of times this season, it hasn't. So, looking at the season numbers between these two teams, and of course, this is going to be, this probably isn't accurate at all for tonight's game or today's game, because the Toronto Raptors are getting close to or just about at full strength, and then the New York Knicks are decimated. So these numbers may not mean a hill of beans, but the New York Knicks are coming into this game averaging 104.7 points per game. The Raptors, 106.5. Both teams around 45 rebounds per game. Both teams around 21 assists per game. The Knicks, 7 steals per game. The Raptors, 9. The Knicks, both teams average about 5.3 blocks per game. Both teams take care of the basketball. The Knicks, 12.6 turnovers. The Raptors, 11.7. Both teams shoot about 43 to 44% from the field. The Knicks are shooting 35.6% from 3. The last game, they shot like 19%, so that really dropped their 3-point percentage. The Raptors shoot 34% from 3. The Knicks, 77% from the free throw line. The Raptors, 76%. The Knicks shot terribly from the free throw line against OKC as well. And this has been happening all season long. They're just not a good free throw shooting team. Points in the paint, the Knicks, 41.7 points in the paint. The Raptors, 44. Second chance points, the Raptors averaging 16 second chance points per game. The Knicks, 14. Again, against OKC, the Knicks only had 3 second chance points. All these rebounds to go around because the Knicks couldn't buy a shot. They only had 3 second chance points. 3. Fast break points. The Raptors had
higher when you're not shooting well.
Yeah, the Raptors, 16 fast break points, and the Knicks, 10.3 fast break points per game. The Knicks just got to play better in all aspects of the game today if they want to have a chance. In all aspects of the game, they just got to play better. Keys to the game. Me and Andy talked about this before we got on. Play fast. Don't let the defense get set. I think if we can play fast against their defense, don't let them get set up. That's to our advantage, at least with the personnel that we have right now. Get Obi out there on the break. Try to get the ball out the net and go. Don't let those guys get set up. I think we can use their aggressiveness against them. And look, the Knicks haven't done this all season long, but it's not too late to give it a go. You use a lot of backdoor cuts. If they're overplaying, you backdoor cut because they like to tip the ball. They're overplaying, you backdoor cut, right? You send a lot of guys flashing to the basket, and you use a lot of off-ball screens. That's using their aggressiveness against them to get us flooded and going towards the basket. If we can do some of those things, we'll give ourselves a chance to score. Of course, players have got to step up. Obi got to step up. We need Grimes to step up. He didn't shoot well against OKC. McBride has to step up. Of course, RJ, we need him to step up as the team leader. I know Tony last night was talking about Evan Fournier and those guys, but RJ was here, right? Evan Fournier is just getting to the team. RJ was here before last season when we were trash. Last year when we made it to the playoffs, and he's here now. I think it's his domain to step up, not Evan Fournier, in my opinion. And then we got to be ready for aggressive play. Our mindset's got to come into this game knowing that this team is going to be aggressive. Most of our guys that's in the starting lineup have played against this team twice this season, so they know what to expect against the Raptors. I think we do those things, we at least give ourselves a chance in this game. Now, I do think the Knicks are going to step up their level of play, the players on the floor, because they know who they're playing. So I think they'll play better than we played against OKC. But, Steph, any keys to the game that you'd like to add in there?
I don't know if I have anything to add, but I like number one, play fast. The only thing about playing fast, Tibbs is going to have a heart attack. There's going to be a bit more turnovers, right? When you play fast, there's a potential for more possessions, more turnovers.
Experienced point guards.
Right, but I still think it gives us the best chance to win, especially with Obi, having a good night. And Taj could just be the trailer. He doesn't have to, run. He could just trail. I would love to see, RJ step up as well. So I think that's a big key. And he could step up verbally. That's good too. But I would love for him to step up offensively and defensively and be aggressive. I think that's that'll work well for us. And overall, I just want us to be scrappy. Even if we lose the game, and I'm not saying we will, even if we lose the game, be scrappy, go out fighting. Don't get to the point where, you just give up. I go back to that Minnesota and Boston. They was down. I forgot how much it was at the half, and they came back and won the game. And that just tells you that no matter how much they was down, they didn't give up. They stayed in it. And that's what I want to see for us today.
Yeah. Andy?
Yeah, when Steph said, Taj can be the trailer, I was imagining Taj like being at half court and be like, okay, just go guys. I'm gonna return to defense.
Right.
So yeah, that might be the case, Steph. You're right. If it's gonna be an 8-man rotation and Taj is gonna be the biggest man on the floor for the Knicks, I wouldn't be surprised if that's gonna be the case. Yeah, but I totally agree, and also with Sim's points, us, not letting them set up the whole defense, it's gonna open up the chances for the Knicks to score easier, because that defense is no joke as far as I see it. It's really bad to hard to play versus guys that are long and maybe not that much physical, but they're also strong and stuff like that. So you try to cut those advantages of the Raptors, and play fast basketball. Like Steph said, Tibbs is going to get a heart attack. He's going to have a sore throat, of yelling out the plays and the coverages. But I really think that's the biggest thing that we could do. And, it's all that being said, if we're going to be having a night like we had in OKC, shooting-wise and percentage-wise, I see a bleak chance of us getting that W. But, we can be the OKC Thunder this game. So, we can hit like 55% from 3. And that might propel us to a W.
Yeah.
The other thing, sorry, Sam, about playing fast is we don't have a lot of players.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of players.
But they're young, so they should be able to run.
They're young, yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely another thing. Nate, anything you want to add in there?
Yeah, so just a couple of things. First off, RJ Barrett, it's a given, man. Hands down, he's got to be an aggressor. He's got to be attacking the rim all game. He really cannot have any lulls or any disappearances in the game today. He's got to be on full cylinders all game for us to have a chance of winning. Gary Trent, you better put a body on Gary Trent. Gary Trent is an assassin, and he can literally put buckets in the basket very quickly. And if they don't guard him, he's going to go off. And then finally, for me, it's Miles. I watched Miles play against OKC, and let's be honest, he was over his head a lot. Playing against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, a very good point guard that can go both ways with his hands, very crafty. Miles had a very tough time with him. Miles is not going to have that kind of point guard against him in this game. So I definitely expect Miles to be a little bit more at ease, and I want to see him run the offense. I want to see him get players set up. I want to see him take his shots when he needs to take his shots. Don't be afraid. So I'm really going to watch Miles and see how Miles plays in the second game starting.
Yeah, I think with Miles, you just got to be patient. I think you got to throw OKC's game out and not even look at that as the baseline, because he was literally thrust into the starting lineup minutes before the game started. You know what I mean? So that makes a difference. That makes a big difference. So I don't think you can look at that as the baseline for Miles McBride right now.
I don't look at it as a baseline, but if you're going to be a starting point guard in the NBA, you're going to have to go against these kind of point guards like Shai Gilgeous, so hey, it was a baptism by fire. He learned what it's like to be in the NBA. This one's not going to be as bad. There's not going to be a Shai Gilgeous on the other side. So I expect Miles to play a little bit more loose and hopefully, keep getting better. I mean, that's all you can ask for him.
Yeah, but Van Vliet is no slouch now.
No, that's true.
So I think he's going to present a different, a different type of...
Yeah, more of a three-point shooting threat. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that.
Yeah, but I think, listen, for any of these rookies, are we really expecting them to show that they could start in this league, right? If we had our guys, he probably wouldn't even been playing or not playing that much. So it's going to be up and down with him, Grimes, even IQ. It's going to be up and down first and second year players.
Yeah. We talked about it yesterday. I forgot who it was that called in. Maybe it was Reg called in and was talking about Quentin Grimes and Miles McBride. And, we kind of came down to it that, look, the Knicks drafted these guys not thinking that they're going to be all-star players, thinking that they're coming in to be role players that are going to fill a role because the Knicks had their lineup. They had their guys that they expected to be an all-star and Julius Randle and guys that they thought could maybe step up to be an all-star. RJ, Fournier, Kemba Walker, has been an all-star before. So they came in thinking, all right, this is who we have here. Well, and of course, at the time of the draft, they didn't have these guys yet, but I'm pretty sure that they had a good idea of what they were trying to go get in the offseason. And so they looked at these guys as players that were going to be able to fit around those guys, play defense and knock down threes. Miles McBride be someone who, if you got into a pinch, could get the ball up the floor, get the ball to, your scorers and knock down a three when asked and play some defense. So I think that's the role that they looked at for these guys. They didn't expect them to be thrust into the starting lineup at this point in time in their careers. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I think that's where, it lies with those guys. But ladies and gentlemen, you're checking out the Game Day pregame show. For all your most up-to-date sports content and betting odds, please make sure you check out thegameday.com. The link is in the description of this video. Before you bet on anything that has to do with basketball tonight, make sure you check out the Game Day. You'll get betting odds from all of your favorite betting platforms. All right, so make sure you go check that out, thegameday.com. The link is in the description, and I'm also going to go ahead and put it in the YouTube chat so you can check it out as soon as we're up out of here. All right, I do have one question I want to ask you guys. Looking at what happened with Kevin Porter Jr. in Houston, is he somebody you would consider if he became available, Steph?
What happened, Sam? I missed it.
Into the coach.
Go ahead, Andy. You know a little bit more than me.
Yeah, well, the assistant coach in John Lucas on the Rockets called out both him and Christian Wood in the halftime, and Kevin Porter Jr. just packed up and drove his car to home mid game. Like he didn't dress up and go out on the court in the second half. Yeah, and the same actually Christian Wood also said that he's not going to play in the second half. So.
Yeah, he didn't.
There's some more, stuff that probably is going on behind the scenes. But, I also heard that assistant coaches already called Kevin Porter Jr. up and that he is apologetic. That was the exact word. Listen, Sim, I'm going to answer the question first. I think if the Rockets are willing to trade him for a second-round pick, I think the Knicks got to make that call. For two things. One thing, maybe Tibbs isn't the perfect guy to, be a mentor for young guys because he doesn't give out, playing time. Then against him, we have so many second-round picks and first-round picks that if we're not going to start to trade them, we're just going to come up to draft night and we're going to trade them for future second-round picks, for future first-round picks. And we're just going to move those picks to the next year, to 2 years ahead and stuff like that. And fans are going to be mad. So if I'm the Knicks, I'm like, listen, we can gamble on this guy. A second round pick is not going to hurt your, championship aspirations. And the guy might pan out. He might need someone with a hard fist or whatever you want to call Tibbs, right? It can also blow up in our faces, right? So they're just gonna cut him and make him drive to Houston in his car. So
yeah, I mean that's the thing.
Sorry, go ahead, Sam.
You're not giving up a whole lot, so it would be easy to let him go if you can, right? So it could be, it could be a high risk, high reward type of situation. for the Knicks. Well, I guess it's not high risk, low risk, high reward for the Knicks. And because the only thing is, I mean, it's already so much. Last year, I think would have been the perfect time for Kevin Porter Jr. because it seemed like there was a lot of strength in the locker room. I'd be a little bit nervous about it this year, but I would definitely pick up the phone and talk about it if they made him available. Steph?
The only hesitation I have, Sim, is that there were some issues in Cleveland as well with him. Now he gets to Houston, there's some issues. He can't deal with the halftime speech by an assistant coach. I don't know how he's going to deal with Tibbs out in the open, letting you know what it is.
Every day.
So, I mean, if the Knicks did it, fine, I'll go with it. But I just feel like it's following him wherever he goes. So it may just be him. He may not be as mature as we need him to be right now. So I'm on the fence. I got to be honest. I'm on the fence.
Yeah, but Steph, just to my point, I'm also hesitant on the move, right? But listen, like you said, he had the problem with the Cavs. He's having problems with the Houston Rockets. And I don't think he's gonna have so many more chances in the NBA. So listen, it might be like, listen, this is your last chance, dude. If not, it's New Zealand, Australia, China, Japan, call it, but it's not going to be in the NBA. And, the word is going to spread up fast. We also have Daniel House Jr. here. He also, wasn't the perfect guy. He brought those girls in the bubble. But maybe he has some more, intel on the Rockets situation.
Right, that's true. Maybe he does have some intel on the Rockets situation.
That's true.
And what's happening there. Kevin Porter Jr.
So maybe that was all prearranged, man, for the Knicks to swoop in.
Right.
Right. And what about Wood? Can we call about Wood?
Yeah. Let me see. Kevin Porter Jr.'s average, he makes $1.7 million this season. He makes $3.2 million next season. And then he has a qualifying offer in 23-24 for $4.8 million. So he's not making that much money.
It would be interesting for me to see if we did get him. First off, I don't think we'll get him for a second round pick. I think they're gonna want more than a second round pick because his talent shows that he's probably worthy more than a second round pick. But if it's a second round pick, then yeah, possibly. But I'd be interested to see because I think that the front office would be split. I think Scott Perry and them would probably want to bring him in, but I think Tibbs would be, I don't know if I want to bring this guy on because I've already got enough stuff I'm dealing with right now with all these other players. And adding on to that case, that's just more personalities I got to deal with. And who knows if he's going to be a cancer in the locker room or what, or if he's going to buy in. I mean, you hope these players just want a different scenery and maybe they get better, but you just never know. And I could definitely see him being split on this idea if he came available, but I don't think it's going to be for a second round pick. I think they're going to want more than that.
But Nate, if they're not going to take a second round pick, they just might need to cut him. And then I bet you guys, LeBron's going to make that call. He says, yes, come to the Lakers for this year. I'm going to take you. So,
why not? Right.
Those guys
talk about a low risk situation. That would be great for them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. It is tough. It's something I'd have to really think about it. If I was Leon Rose and in that front office, I'd have to really, really think hard about it because, like I said, last year would have been the perfect time. I think, we just had more chemistry in the locker room. We were just more together. This year, not as much. And, to have somebody come in that's already dealing with some issues. Now, the only thing is, you would expect for at least the first half of the season, he'd be on a honeymoon period.
Right.
Trying to figure out what's happening, what's going on. So, I don't know. You
just have to ask yourself, does the talent outweigh the problems? That's usually what every person asks when they're in the front office.
That's the good question. Does it? This year he's averaging 12 points per game so far.
That's the same average that Obi has, so...
So I guess, you ask yourself, is he, it's 12 points, 4 rebounds, and 6 assists, 5.7 assists. Is it is it worth it?
More assists than our point guards are doing now.
You know, he's
Same, or maybe just get him and just send him to the G League. Whatever.
Yeah, something.
Work.
Hey. You never know. Say, hey, you know what? You got to prove yourself to us. You know, this is what we do here. You got to prove yourself to us.
But if we did take him, who would be the odd man out? Because then we have 5 point guards on our team again?
I mean,
You got 5 point guards, you got none.
That's true. That's true.
Right.
But I'm just saying, I mean, now you got 5, so who's the odd man out?
I mean, look at the situation right now. The situation, the way things are right now, it's not going to stop. Right. We're going to continuously lose players. And we might lose players twice, due to health and safety protocols. You never know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Andrew Nash said, just want to say I don't care who's playing. I believe in the Knicks. We're winning today. Let's go. Thank you for the super chat, Andrew. I appreciate you, man.
We need to win.
Hey, listen, I believe in these Knicks too. I want to see them. I want to see them win. Do I believe we're winning today? I don't know. I'm not even concerned about it. I just want to see them go out and play hard. Right. I just want to see these young guys go out and compete with a team that's better than them. That's all I want to see today. And if we can win it, that's cherry on top.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's how I am for today. Any last words before we get out of here? And I'll go watch the Giants get their butts kicked. Before I watch the Knicks.
Very down by.
Any last words, Steph?
Play hard. Win or lose, play hard. Full 48, and I'm happy.
Yeah, with it. Andy?
Yeah, just make us Knicks fans proud at least. So we're not gonna be, pouching from the beginning of, the next week on Monday in work. Everybody's gonna be with the heads down and in disgrace at what the Knicks did. So
yeah,
as long as we play, with energy and hustle, I'm gonna be cool.
Yeah, definitely. Nate?
Well, to quote the great Walt Clyde, fire and desire. I mean, show that you want to play. Show that you want to be there. Let's do it. I mean, if anybody should be juiced up for this game, it's RJ Barrett because he's playing back in Canada. He's probably got family there. He should ball out tonight. And he's going to ball out. I'm going to say he's going to score 35 points tonight. And we're gonna
35? Wow. I'll take it.
35 points. If
he's playing in Canada, man. His people are going to be in the arena. They're going to be cheering him on.
Okay. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Game Day pregame show. Again, for all of your most up-to-date sports content and betting odds, please make sure you check out the Game Day. I'm putting a link in the YouTube chat right now. All right, so go check out thegameday.com. They got betting odds from all of your favorite betting platforms. You can make the best decision on how to win yourself some money to open up the new year. Ladies and gentlemen, so click on that link I just put in the description. It's also in the description of this video, but click on the link I just put in the YouTube chat. That's what I meant to say. We're out of here, ladies and gentlemen. Be peaceful, spread love, and I'll catch you on the postgame show. Out.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.